if you are struggling to find precise entries in your trades, stop you out and then proceed to run a take profit. Well, I'm going to be explaining why that happens. I'm going to be showing you a confluence you can add it to actually make that not happen. Often the first step to having a winning trade is the entry. A lot of beginner traders struggle with having an entry because they're either late or they're early, which could lead to manipulation, them getting stopped out, and then that leads to FOMO, over trading, panic, whatever it is, all the emotions. So today I'm going to be going over turtle soup, and without further ado, let's just jump right into this. Alrighty, so what I have on here, we're just going to start it very simple here. I'm going to draw out, for example, something like a chart here, and we're just going to understand what is internal liquidity and what could be known as external liquidity. So identifying this early and understanding liquidity as a beginner trader or trader wherever you're at will help you drastically, because you can understand what is the drawn liquidity and what is that. We'll get into that in later videos, but let's just jump into what is internal liquidity. So to understand what is internal liquidity, you need to mark out highs and lows. So for example, this would be external buy side and this would be external sell side. So now that we understand that we have some external liquidity, buy side, sell side, we can understand within that external range, we can find internal liquidity. So you see this low here, this would be known as internal sell side. Let's just say we're like right here. We have internal buy side here. We also have another internal buy side here. So understanding the internal liquidity is going to help you find turtle soups. And obviously there's going to be more, it's going to be more in depth than that, but this is the first step to actually understanding turtle soup is internal liquidity. So let's just hop into, I'm going to draw in another scenario, but it's going to be more of a chart actually entry example. So let's just jump into that. Alrighty, so what we have here, let's just say we swept some external sell side. So in the earlier videos, I made a video on market maker models. So with sweeping external sell side, that means we have actually completed the market maker sell model. So after completing this, you would sort of want to see a market maker buy all the way to the external buy side up here. So what really this model is, if you're trading a turtle soup, is going to be more of an internal to external model. So this is very high probability model, especially if you wait patiently. This is the hardest part, is waiting patiently for some sort of internal soup. So let's just say we have a clear market maker buy model. We have a change in state at this low, and now we're kind of just chopping inside of this range. So in order for us to understand where we want to go, we have to find the drawn liquidity, and that would be this buy side up here. So now we have the drawn liquidity. We just have to find some sort of way we can execute and get an entry in this trade. So we can mark out this internal sell side liquidity here. So we could mark this internal sell side. Okay. So now before we could enter a trade, because we don't want to jump into a long here, put our stop at the recent low, because obviously we would want to see this low get swept before we can go higher. So we can mark out the internal highs. And now, obviously, if we want to see the market go higher, it has to go lower first. So let's just say we have an extra confluence to say 5-minute gaps here as well. So we have this 5-minute gap. We have this low resistance liquidity right here. We want to see all these lows that get ran through, tapped, and then some sort of model that it wants to go higher. So we can zoom in now. Maybe we have some sort of entry. We say an inversion here. And now we obviously would take the trade after the inversion. So here you could put your stop at the swing low, because this is a protected swing low. We're in a fair value gap. We obviously want to see this hold. You could go TP to the swing high or this external high, and you could go break even here, for example. But then obviously once you sweep that low, this would be the best possible entry, and you would look to trail your trade all the way to this external buy side, completing the market maker buy model here. So this is an example of a market maker buy model with internal turtle soup, also 5-minute gap, inversion, all that stuff. So I'm going to be going over a market maker sell model here. Alrighty, so we have this chart here, and now let's just say we swept some external buy side liquidity here. So now obviously we completed the market maker buy model. Now we want to see a market maker sell model start to sell off all the way to this kind of external low here. So now we understand where the drawn liquidity is. We understand that we're bearish. Now we just have to find something. So let's just say we have a change in the state here. So we actually are bearish. And let's just look, maybe if it's the higher time frame, we have a 15-minute gap here. that we want to trade into. And now, so obviously, if we want to see lower, we need to see higher prices. We need to sweep some internal highs and then actually get the trade for lower, because we don't want to be taking a trade right here, putting our stop at the high and then getting stopped out, and then our trade runs the full TP. So we have to understand we have this internal high here, and we want to see some sort of a trade inside of it or break it. And then we actually look for a trade out of that. So let's just say we break these highs up here, tap to the 15-minute for value gap, and we start to displace lower. So now obviously we look for our internal model, because we don't just want to trade a break of structure or a break of liquidity here. We want to look for our internal model. So let's say we have an inversion. You could go shorts after the inverse and then stop at the swing high, target the swing low or this external low, and then you could go break even at this internal low. And obviously you would look for your trade to run for full TP here. So obviously this is a market maker sell model with the turtle soup, higher time frame gap, inverse. So this is a drawn up example. I'm going to be going into it live chart example, trades I actually took. So without further ado, let's just jump right into that. Alrighty, so here's a trade I actually executed on live. Let me just clear out the chart for y'all, because this is probably a little confusing, especially if you're new to this. So let me go on replay here. And so understanding this, we have these lows and highs here. I want to see some sort of reaction out of these lows here. So we have this sell side that we just swept. And now I'm extremely bullish because we just turtle souped on the higher time frame. As you can see, we swept internal liquidity. I want to start to see a move higher here, right? So in order for me to see that, I need some internal models. So I have an IPG here, because if we draw it up like we did on the chart, we have completed the market maker sell model. And now we want to see a market maker buy model up to these external highs up here. So ultimately, we find the drawn liquidity. Once we find it, we can actually look to execute a trade. So let's just say I didn't actually get a trade off here. So let's say I didn't get anything here, and we're just kind of waiting. We're almost at to this buy side here. And we actually look for some sort of trade once we're chopping inside of this range here. So let's just say we look for something once we sweep this low here. So I'm ultimately wanting to see this internal low get swept in some sort of high to actually, or displacement to happen to this external buy side. So we're obviously looking for something. Let's see if we have a higher time frame gap. So we do have a 15-minute gap here that is unmitigated right here. And so now obviously we want to see this get traded into in some sort of displacement out, so we can look for an entry. So we get the displacement lower here, a sweep of it. Now we want to see some sort of reaction. So we have an IFEG here, this 1 minute IFEG. So you could take your trade here for these longs after the close, and you could target this external buy side high. You could put your stop at the swing low, whatever. And then now you can look to go break even here. So this could be your BE. And then you could see what the trade does. So at first you sweep this BE, and then you actually, it doesn't manage to hit break even here. So you're pretty lucky. And then it proceeds to run all the way to this external buy side, completing the market maker buy model. So this was pretty much internal turtle soup for a market maker buy model. Let's just say you did miss this inversion trade. Then you can wait, be patient, some sort of accumulation manipulation until sweeping an internal low, and then look for something out of that. So this was a trade I actually executed on live. So this was pretty clean. Alrighty, so let's just try to find a market maker sell model so I can get you to realize what that looks like. Alrighty, so here's another trade I actually executed. Let me just clear out the chart for y'all so it kind of makes it easier. Alrighty, so when we look at this, let me go like right here. So when we're looking at this higher time frame, we realize we swept some sort of external buy side. We now have manipulation for this high. And as you can see, we have a higher time frame change in state on the 15-minute. So we obviously look now to displace lower. We completed the market maker buy model here. So now we want to see lower prices actually play out here. So obviously it would either be internal or external you could target. So with this manipulation here, you can look back on the 1 minute. We have these higher lows being put in. So with that, you can see this as low resistance liquidity. You want to see some sort of sweep out of this and then look for some internal model to actually like inverse. And then you could target this low, for example, or you can target whatever this for value gap, how your time frame for value gap is. So that's obviously something I would want to look for. And it's not just using turtle soup as one singular confluence. For this trade, I lined up my OTE level here. So we had OTE aligned with this. So I wanted to see not just a sweep of this liquidity, but a breakout inside of this range here. And I wanted to see some sort of displacement after. So we get this move up for, let me move my OTE. We are waiting for the move to break out of this high. So there it is. There's a sweep of all this low resistance liquidity. Here's our turtle soup. And obviously we look bearish. So that would be our first trade to look at. We get this IPG here. Inversion. There it is. And obviously would look to target after we get that short entry, stop at the swing high, and then look to target this external low here. And so let's see how it would play out. And bang. So overall, you could have targeted this. You could have targeted the higher time frame for value gap, whatever. But this low was a pretty good target. And as you can see, we are shopping inside of this range. And as traders, we don't want to be a part of trading chop. So you just have to kind of wait patiently for that. And that's the hardest part of this model. So understanding, all right, let's wait for some internal sweep, see how we react off of that. And then actually that's how you can identify and have good entries, because this is a 1 to 3.5 risk to reward. So this is a very good entry. So understanding after sweep, we add confluence here. Maybe we have a higher time frame gap. I think we had a 30-minute gap up here as well. Yeah, we have a 30-minute gap holding. So overall, a lot of confluences add up that this trade actually wants to go lower. We're not just using turtle soup, we're implementing other confluences. If you guys are new here and you like the trading content, please don't be afraid to subscribe, leave a comment, like the video, whatever you want. But this is the end of the video. This is how you can actually identify turtle soup. And this is something I use every single day in my trading, something I look for. And this is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you all in the next one.